Hello, hello. I have not been live in a while, so I'm like, let me get on here, see if anybody pops on. I was just filming a video for TikTok and I was talking about my friend from France. I don't know if she's my friend. I don't know if she's my friend anymore, but I'll just say that, my friend. If you've watched any of my videos or if you go and watch them, my very first podcast episode is with this girl that is my friend from France. And literally, that's the title, I think, of the video. But I traveled to France recently and I was trying to meet up with her and everything, because I've known her for a really long time. We met when we were, I don't know, like 13 years old on MySpace, um, which is way back, right? We met on MySpace and we kept in touch and I plan to visit France. I've always wanted to visit France, Europe, and Rome. But the main reason I went to Nice, which is in the French River. River I can never say this. It's in southern France. The main reason I went over there because that is where the airport that's near her. I think there's another one, but that's like the main airport. And so I went over there. I booked the flight, and I'm like, you know what? This is the day I'm going, like, let's arrange things. And I had kind of already told her, and she's like, oh, yeah, I don't have anything planned. Whenever you come, we can hang out. She might not be able to hang out during the week, if she's working, but that was cool. I understand you got to work. And so I travel. Well, let me not get that far ahead. So I ended up booking my flight, and I told her, this is the day I'm going. And once I booked, she's like, "Oh, well, actually, like my friend's having a bachelorette party, and I think it's gonna be around those days." And I'm like, "Oh, well, one that would have been good to know before." But I'm like, you know what? If they haven't booked anything, because she just said like, I think those are the dates they're thinking of. So I'm like, just can you suggest, another date for them? Since I'm just going across the world and gonna be there. And she's like, yeah, like, let me see, confirm with them. Time passes by. And I think I booked my flight like 2.5 months before. It was a short period, but again, we had already been talking about it. So the time comes and she's like, yeah, I think they're gonna do that day or that weekend and the whole weekend, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And so I'm like, oh well, that sucks, but like I understand, like I've known her a really long time, but I mean we've never met in person. So like I get it. But I'm like, oh, like it would be so cool to meet up with you, even if it's just, well, I don't know, somewhere around that, right? Because I was gonna be free on the afternoons and she did live 2 hours away, but like we can always meet in the middle. Like there's ways, right? I have driven, a couple of hours to see my friends. I don't know if you all have, but like I just feel like if you have like a good friendship and you don't get to see people that often, then you will make that effort, right? At least I guess I have. I don't know. I don't know. Does that make me a good friend? Hopefully. But anyways, so she says like I might be able to come one day, during the day, maybe just skip one of the 3 days of the bridal shower or not bachelorette party. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then the next thing was like, hey, like, do you want to stay? Because I'm like, well, if she wants to stay, like, I'll book something maybe a little bit bigger or like something with 2 beds so that she has a place to sleep. And so she's like, yeah, like, I'll just stay. That way I don't have to drive late if we stay up late. And then she'll leave the next day, right? Okay, time passes by. Everything's good. She's like, yeah, I still plan on going. Um, that on Saturday. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I think it was like Friday, we still were good. And she's like, yeah, I might not stay the night just so I can get back. But like, again, I'm like, okay, cool. A couple of hours. And I was gonna like, I even switched the things that I was doing because she was gonna go that day and she didn't want to like leave the area. She wanted to like just kind of stay in one spot. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm flexible. Um, and then Saturday comes in the morning and she texts me and is like, "Oh, I'm not gonna come." And one of the things that she kept telling me, she's like, "Oh, like you have to understand, like this is really far from me. Like it's a really far drive." And like she's like, "I'm just too tired and like I'm not doing it." And in my head, I'm like, I think I already said this, but I'm like, this is far from me. Like I just traveled 15 hours um to get here. And like I said, I've always wanted to travel to Europe, but I don't know that I would have gone to Nice if it wasn't for her. Like that would have been my go-to. Like I probably just would have gone straight to Rome. And luckily, like there was enough time where like I was able to book my flight to Rome. Because like I was kind of on the fence. I mean, I wanted to visit Rome, but I'm like, oh, like maybe I'll just go a couple of days. Or maybe like if it's like really nice over here, then that's all I'll do. I'll just stay in Nice, in that area, because you can go on train and visit other places. But I knew with enough time that like I actually gave myself more time in Rome, and now I'm like really glad about that because like Rome is pretty cool. Um, but yeah, Alex, it sucks. And I agree. That's what I felt, and I kept telling myself like, maybe it's just different cultures. Um, because to me, like I said, like I've done day trips, 2 hours, maybe a little bit further, to visit friends. Because I'm like, oh, they're going to be there, and this is just closer for me. But for her, she's just like, no. And I think the part too that kind of like adds to the um not the injury, adds to the injury. I don't know what the saying is. The thing that I'm like, she never texted me and was like, "Oh, well, how's the rest of your trip?" Or like, have fun in Rome or anything. And I actually went back to Nice because I was flying out of there, so like I could have met with her again or had another day, where we could have met, or like maybe I could have traveled an hour and then she only had to travel an hour. But yeah, now she just I mean, kind of. I mean, we're still friends on social media, right? But obviously, if the 20 years of like friendship didn't matter, then I don't know that social media means anything on that end. But yeah, I know she hasn't messaged me. Like, I don't know. But then again, I'm like, maybe it's a culture thing. Cause like I feel like I would feel bad. I would feel bad for my friend and I would have been like, hey, like I'm so sorry, I hope you have a great trip, or let me know if you want any recommendations, like something. But I haven't talked to her. So that's why at the beginning of this live I'm like, well, my friend, but I'm like, I don't know, are we still friends? I don't know. um I just feel like I would have made more of an effort, but thank you. I do pride myself in being a good friend. um I've been told that I'm a good friend. I don't have a lot of friends, but like the ones that I do, I got their back. Um, yeah, maybe acquaintance. I don't know if you've seen my other video, Alex, where I talk about like the levels of friends, like I can't remember what it's called, like what makes a friend something. I did a video with somebody else um on my podcast or on this YouTube channel, and I talked about that. Like, I do feel like there's different levels. We say friend a lot, but yeah, I guess an acquaintance. I think an acquaintance would be more fitting. I even say sometimes like there's a friend and then there's a friend. Um, because yeah, some people you get along with, you can hang out with, like you see them and you're like, you can get along really well. But then I think you have the people that they're like your go-to, you can tell anything to, like you talk to them more often, they're checking in with you. And that's what I try to do like with my friends. Like if I haven't talked to them in a while, I'm just like, hey, like just checking in, like hope you're doing well. If you need me, I am here. Like if you need to talk, I am here, maybe from far away. Um, but I'm here. So yeah. Yeah, that got me in trouble. So don't get yourself in trouble here. But I made that video. Um oh, actually this is so there was like two videos that talked, I think a few videos that talked about friendship, but I made that friend like what makes a friend or something like that. And then I did another video that is, should you befriend your coworker or something like that. And I laugh about it because I feel like it's so dumb. Not the video, but what happened, which I'm gonna tell you. Another story. No, I have stories for days. Um, so I made that video, and later on, I found out, like, I saw this girl that I used to work with, and um, I had seen her, but the place that I had seen her, like, she didn't say hi to me. She just walked past me, and I'm like, oh, maybe that's just the scene, right? Because it was during like a work thing, and so I'm like, okay, like, and she was doing something, so not to give too many details on that scenario, but like, I kind of understood why maybe she wouldn't have said hi. Cool. I see her at another thing, and she just like doesn't say hi to me, which is kind of weird because I'm like, like normally she says hi to me. And I hadn't seen her in a while besides that other time. Well, later on, like, all the girls that I used to work with, like, they all come and say hi, they give me a hug. I mean, maybe not all of them because they were also working, but like, we're talking, how are you? Everything's great. But this one, like, I go and talk to, like, let's say person A and she's person B. And so I go and I talk to person A, and person B, she just like leaves. Like, she tries to avoid me too, and maybe not avoid, but just like doesn't want to be around me. Like, I get those vibes, and it was really weird. And by process of elimination, I don't know if it's that, but I ended up finding out that they watched my video on YouTube, and apparently this person was mad because of this video. And I was like flabbergasted. I like that word. I'm gonna use it. I was just like, I didn't understand. One, because of the content of that video. Um, I was talking about how I felt some type of way because I thought we were friends. I spent about 4 years working there, well, and I was on and off like per diem the fifth year. So I spent time there. And so I thought like I had grown close to these girls. But like what I noticed is that like they would get together and have dinners, and I wasn't invited. I was invited to some, but like not all of them. Sometimes I would try to include myself like in the gift exchange. I'm like, oh, like just include me, 'cause I worked from home, so I didn't have other coworkers. And then I noticed like they would have like birthday parties for their kids, and I was never invited. And obviously, like, I don't have to be invited, but they were inviting everybody else, so I just thought like, they can invite me too. Um, so from that, I'm just like, yeah, I thought we were like pretty close, but I guess not. Um, and so that's what I put in my video. I'm like, I would consider them like friends, and then but not like my friends just because of how we've been. Because I guess I want to be treated how as a friend how I would treat others, and so how they were treating me, I just didn't feel like it was to that level. Um, so anyways, they felt this girl was mad, apparently. I mean, that's what I got from what I heard. Um, yeah, she was not happy about that. And that's why she was just like ignoring me. But she was like, I don't know, like, I feel like a classy person, like, even si no me caes bien, like, if we're not getting along and I kind of very much dislike you, I, as a professional or as a classy person, I'm still gonna darte la mano. Like, I'm still gonna saludarte. I'm still gonna shake your hand just because, like, I don't have to be like buddy buddy to you. We don't have to be best friends. But it's just like the right thing to do. I don't know if that's how you all feel, but like that's kind of how I am, because I'm just like, I'm a classy person. Like, I'm not gonna be rude. I don't have to like talk to you after this, but I am gonna say hi because that's just, who I am, I guess. Um, and I found it kind of weird because, I went back on social media, and I know I just talked about social media, yeah, that I'm still friends with that other person, the girl from France. Um, but like, I just feel like if you really don't like me, then why are you following me still? Like, if I was her, because she was acting like I took her husband. Like, she just, didn't want to be around me. No smiles, no nothing. And so one, like, why do you even have me? Why do you want to see me? Like, if you're that against me for whatever, like, if you feel such type of way, then yeah, that didn't make sense. So I went and I deleted her off of all social media because I'm like, well, we're obviously not even on like speaking terms here. But the other thing too that I felt was weird, I'm like, okay, I think if she thought we were friends and I thought we were some type of friends or acquaintances at least, but if she thought I was her friend and that hurt her feelings, wouldn't the right thing to do would be for her to come to me and be like, hey, Meli, like what you said, like I took that to heart, and then we can talk about it, that it upset her. And then, I could have explained more of my side and we could have talked through it. So I feel like the fact that she just didn't like say anything, I feel like that was weird. Like, obviously, we're not that close, or you don't care about our friendship that much, or what you thought we had. Like, you got so upset because you thought we had a friendship and you thought that I said we didn't. But then it was obviously not enough for you to just come to me and say, hey, that hurt my feelings. I thought that was kind of effed up, for us to talk about it. So to me, that said, like, obviously, it wasn't that big. I don't know if that makes sense. Um, that's kind of my thought process there on that. I would some people think personally. Yeah, so yeah, that's kind of like what I'm saying. Like, I think if, como dicen, si te queda el saco, te lo pones, that kind of thing. I'm like, they wouldn't, if they're not doing that, and if we're good, if that specific person, like, then it shouldn't have bothered her the way that it did. And again, if anything, like, I don't think I give off the vibes like to the people that are my friends, like, hey, you can't talk to me. Um, and I know that, like, I do a lot of like I put a lot of stuff on social media, but usually I don't put like I'm not gonna do my friends like that, is what I'm saying. Um, but yeah, that happened off of my video. So yeah, that made me think of that, like, oh, and it's good. I In those videos I talk about how, like, you sometimes do have to evaluate your friendships. I know a lot of people que me dicen, they're like, ah, no, pero like, we're good. Okay, we haven't talked in a while. Like, you got my back. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, not to me personally, but like to their other friends, are like, oh, I don't need to, um, you know, be on my friend's ass, I guess, pretty much. I don't know if I could say that word, but I said it already. Um, but like, they don't feel like they have to. And I totally get that, because sometimes, you do talk to people and you're like, you haven't seen them in forever. Y te, agarras platicando. Yessie, who's in one of my videos, one of the friendship videos, we hadn't talked in a really long time. Um, but when we got together, like, we did that video, and we had probably gone together maybe like a couple times, two to maybe twice at the most before we did that video, and like we were vibing and everything. But even then, like, I was telling her, like, oh, I was hesitant. Like, she was like, yeah, you're my friend. We haven't talked in like 10 years or seen each other, but like, we're gonna pick up right where we left off. But I'm not that way. Um, just because I feel like friendships do take a little bit of effort. And sometimes you do have to evaluate, like, you know, maybe that friendship was really good at that point when you were close, but maybe it's not, who you are now. And maybe that friendship is, or that person, maybe it's not the type of friend you need, not trying to be all, psychology over here. Because I don't know, but I just can go off of my experience. But that is to say, I guess I have less friends now. And some of them, it takes like, obviously I'm not going to lose sleep over my friend from France and her just ditching me and not coming to Nice. Um, but sometimes it does take like things like that for you to be like, oh, you know, that's what they thought, or that's, how they act kind of tells you more, you know, or what they don't do tells you more of who they are than what they do, you know, because there's a lot. I think, especially with social media, Obviously, not everybody has social media in their life or is active on it. Um, but I do think there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of like what people want to portray that they are, um, or what they want, the vibes that they want to give off, but maybe that's not really who they are. So, so that's why you get messy, Melly in my videos. Toda greñuda. I was just filming. I try to do like a vlog of like the week, and my house is not aesthetic, like all the other like all the influencers. Um, and usually I'll try to avoid in filming in certain places, or I will film and then I will just delete it. Because I'm like, no, pues sí me da como pena. But at the same time, I pride myself on being authentic and like what you see is what you get. And I like, I don't know, I still gotta edit it and post it. So I'm not gonna like, I don't know, claim victory, I guess. But I was filming it and I'm like, you know what? This is what it is. Like one of my rooms, or it's the kitchen, it doesn't have trim. And so I always try to avoid filming in that section. I thought I have filmed, but like I said, I think I delete it. But I'm like, you know what? This is what it is. My house is unfinished in some areas, but that's authentic. So that's why I say I'm like, sometimes you get the messy Melly version because I'm I'd rather be more authentic and more messy and genuine than fake, than be somebody that I'm not. So I think it is what it is. I think it's something good though. But anyways, I did go to Rome and have my dog. I don't know if y'all can hear my dog is like crying at my door. Um, but I did go to Rome and it was awesome. And if you all, I don't know, if you have questions, if there's things you want to know about, let me know. I think this live will probably be short. I'll probably just do half an hour because I need to make food. Ay, me da una flojera. Um, that's a good thing. I don't have kids. And one of the benefits is that sometimes I really do not want to cook. And lately, I'm not like a huge tuna person, but I've had like tuna. I'm gonna cook today. Okay, that let's say that. But sometimes I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna eat tuna, and I, mix it up, put some corn in there, and I'm like, I'm good. I'm good to go. Um, but my dogs made me lose my train of thought. The food made me lose my train of thought. But yeah, so Rome, if you all have like things you want to hear about, I uploaded my videos, I uploaded like different vlogs, and I'm still getting the hang of those vlogs because sometimes, and you'll see it if you watch the videos, like I have a hard time still filming in front of people. And when I'm in new spaces, especially when I'm in new spaces, I'm just very cautious because I've seen videos of like people are like taking a picture or like, filming, and like people will come and like swipe their phone. Um, and so I'm always like so cautious of that because I'm like, oh no. Imagínate they take my phone and then, you don't always have like I have like the iCloud backup, but sometimes it doesn't like what's it called? It doesn't back up. It doesn't sync. It doesn't sync. That's what I was looking for. It doesn't sync, so I'm always worried. Like, oh my all my pictures are gonna be gone. All my memories. Can you tell me more? Alaska trip. What made you decide on that location? Ooh, okay. So yes, I went to Alaska recently. I went on a cruise, and the decision was I didn't really have a thought to it. So my friend, she was going to go and had this plan, and the person that she was going to go with ended up like not able to go. So I got added on last minute. It was a little bit cheaper because they had already covered some of it. So that's how I ended up in Alaska. I actually always wanted to visit Alaska though, because like it's one of those places for just from what I've seen, and I guess what I've been told, that is just has beautiful scenery and landscape. And so I'm like a big softie for nature. And it's just like I don't know, kind of like in Rome. I mean, Rome is a little bit different, but like you know those places that you see on videos and they just look like a postcard? Like, just being able to see those and, like, in person, that's kinda like that's one of the reasons I wanted to visit Alaska, because I'm like, "You know what? It's just a different experience." I wanna see the postcards, but in person. So that one already had the stops. We stopped in Juneau, and, Skagway, Alaska, and then we were supposed to stop in Ketchikan, but they canceled that, which I didn't know they could actually do, but they canceled that Ketchikan stop because of pressure something. I don't really know, but they canceled it. And then we went to Victoria. So, oh, and Glacier Bay, I don't know what that is nearby, but we did go to Glacier Bay National Park, which was pretty amazing. So I didn't really have a say in where we visited or like you know, what the cruise entailed, like the stops. I kind of just took advantage of like, hey, this is going to be a little bit more budget friendly than doing it on my own, and I kind of just made it work. That's how I end up doing some stuff. Because I'm like, I'm a girly, like I want to travel on a budget. So, which is one of the things that I want to do in more videos, just talk about how some of the ways that I save. Um, because even though like I don't have children or those, because children are expensive, um, I think it's nice to do things on a budget because it just allows you to do more. Either more trips or just enjoy it more. So yeah. I just went to Alaska. We left out of Seattle, and then we went Juneau first, so we were at sea one full day, and then we went to Skagway, and then I think the furthest port is Ketchikan. That's where we didn't go. Um, but yeah, we had like a couple of days at sea, which was kind of trippy. I thought I was gonna be fine, but like I did feel sick, and I did have motion sickness pills. You can see everybody like on board. Not everybody, but a lot of people had like the little patches for motion sickness. I bought pills, but I actually didn't drink them. I'm like, I can do it. I'm like, I'm gonna get over it. But it is like you could see like when we were in the pool, like the water just go this way and that way. Like it's trippy. And then the hangers. I don't know if you're a light sleeper or if anybody watching this, but like I'm a light sleeper and I hate it because I can hear like everything. Like my neighbor, I freaking hate it. My neighbor in the morning, she is actually hasn't done it as often, but she will come out like sometimes at 5 in the morning. And I don't wake up at 5 in the morning, but she will come out like at 5 in the morning and call her cat. Kitty, 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 kitty. I hate it. Because I mean it's across the street, but I can still hear her. So, anyways, on that cruise, I could hear the hangers in the middle of the night. Just things like really loud talkers, but we could hear them all the time. I felt like, you couldn't hear us. We were just talking normal, but they were just like loud. Um, yeah. So I heard that when I first moved in here. Um, so I have a fifth wheel, so I was sleeping in the fifth wheel because like the inside of my house was being remodeled, right? And I kept hearing the like something like knock against like metal, and I'm like, what is going on? Like the neighbors up this early, and I thought maybe they're like they clean out the horses area, so I'm like maybe they're just like accidentally hitting the metal. I don't know, it's freaking loud. Later on, I found out that it's the horses. So they've gotten the horses used to eating super early, like 5 in the morning. And so they start hitting the railing that early because they want food, you know? Um, so yeah, I was like, what is going on? And I'm like, maybe it's, in the fifth wheel. I don't hear as much inside, but the fifth wheel, obviously it's not like a house, like it's thinner walls and stuff. But I was just like, dude, who is making that noise? Um, But yeah, I'm a light sleeper. So if anybody's a light sleeper and watches this and you have tips, let me know because I've tried. Um yeah, no, I do not. And it's really interesting because like I can like get up early, if I want to, but usually like for work, I don't have to get up too early. Um, but she'll do that 5 a.m. and then before she leaves, like around 7-ish, like I already know her schedule just because of the cat calling, um, literal cat calling. And she'll call them again. And then she's just like, kitty, kitty, kitty. I feel ridiculous even saying it, but like she'll do that for like 5 minutes. And I'm just like, why? Why do you do this to me? I mean, obviously, she's not doing it to me, and she's probably not doing it on purpose because it's not normal. But yeah, yeah. No, I have a 5 a.m. I have like that 7-ish. So, like, if I snoozed and actually went back to sleep, I need to get up for work, like, she's got me. I'm all good. So, si se muere el teléfono, she'll wake me up. And then when it's lunchtime, she does it again. So, like, I don't even, sometimes I'm working and then I hear her and I'm like, oh crap, it's lunch. I almost missed it. But yeah, no, it's very interesting. But yeah, if anybody has tips, I've tried. I don't know that you can like retrain your brain to not hear, but I've tried like earplugs, and then they start hurting my ears. I sometimes try a fan, but then when it gets like when you don't need a fan, like the weather doesn't call for a fan, then that's like you're kind of screwed. I also have a heater that's a baseboard, and all my heaters are baseboard, but like they creak, so I'm like I'm gonna have to switch those out. By by no, I can't even say that. Binaural, binaural. I'm gonna write it down. I probably chopped that. Binaural beats. I'll look them up. Thank you, because I'm like sometimes when I go places, I do take earplugs. Like I stayed at a hostel. That's like another story. I stayed at a hostel. If any of you have ever wondered about hostels, don't be afraid of them. I stayed at one for the first time, and this is my first time traveling solo. And I actually really liked it. I feel like I need to post more about that. But yeah, I really liked it, and it was a lot cheaper to stay in. I like that they had events, but of course, you have people in and out. Um, I am a grandma, and I go to sleep super early, especially when I'm traveling. Just because I like am tired. I get up really early, and in that case, I was really off. I think it was like 10 hours ahead, 9 or 10 hours ahead of like where I'm normally at in Washington. So yeah, I was going to bed like super early, but I was getting up early. But yeah, you have people in and out. So I had like my mask, I had my earplugs, so I can go to bed because it's just like it's four people for the room. One girl, I didn't even actually see her when I was there. She ended up um what's it called? Like I saw her stuff and then she was gone all day. I went to bed in the morning she was gone. So sometimes you don't even see people. But yeah, I'll have to do more stuff on that. I think I have a lot to share. Um, and one of the things that I've been thinking a lot that I don't think I've shared in this video or any of my social media because I have like a Facebook page too. And one of the goals that I have for like this channel and just my Facebook page, it's to kind of well, one, I want people to be inspired, to travel, to see things. I think growing up in a small town, I saw a lot of people who just kind of they're okay. And I guess it's okay, if they just want to be in their bubble. But there's just so much to see. And I think when you're inspired and you get to see all these things, like your kids, like you'll pass that on to that your kids, that love of like learning and seeing different cultures and experience these things that some people will, might not ever. Um, and it's just something really cool. Um, So like with my channels, I want people to be like inspired. I want them to see things and be like, oh damn, like, like that's out there and it's awesome and it's worth it. Um, and also to like, if I can do it, I feel like anybody can do it. And I've mentioned, on this video for a reason, I mentioned like I don't have kids. So a lot of people are like, oh, well, you don't have kids, so you can do it. But there's ways like the more you learn, um, and get like real true stories, because I feel like that's one of the things that on social media is kind of hard now. Obviously, like you get to see, I've learned a lot on social media. There's things that I'm like, oh dang, like that's out there. I'm gonna save that because I want to visit there. But then you also have like this these some influencers who will share something and recommend something, um, based on selling, and they'll also share something based on like not wanting to look dumb. Like if sometimes I feel like people go to places and they're like, oh, that wasn't that good. And they're going to still post it because like they're making money, or like they're not going to tell people like what really happened. Um, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just, I think you lose some of the authenticity for looks. So anyways, that's one of my goals. I just want people to be like, oh, like if Melly can do it, I can do it. I traveled to Rome and obviously France, but like I did that with a lot of sciatica pain. I've been dealing with sciatica for a really long time and actually want to make a video on that because I think the more people know about it and know like the symptoms, maybe that can help you. But like, so I was very thoughtful of how I did things, um, because I mean, I was in pain, right? I had to take breaks. And so there might be people like me that, don't feel as mobile or are a little bit overwhelmed maybe. And so like, I'm like, if I can do it, you can do it. It's just a matter of finding what works for you. And that might be like mobility or budget, or you might be worried about safety, um, which I feel like Rome. I just did a video with somebody, one of my TikTok friends, because she was in Rome at the same time, and we talked about Rome and like things that we like, things that we learned, and we talked about like the safety part, right? Which is a little bit different than what we had seen online. So, anyways, I think the more you learn, um, maybe you'll get inspired to visit these places or get creative on how you can visit these places. Um, but yeah, that's one of the hopefully takeaways that you can get from my channel. If you all have questions about any of those trips, even if it's more details, I'm going to try to make some more videos. I got my notebook right here. Like was feeling inspired today. That's why I did this live. But I'm going to jot some things down just about like even just logistics, right? I learned a lot on the cruise, that I don't think I've covered in any of my videos, and I want to share them with you all. So like, if you're thinking about it, maybe this can be the thing that you're like, oh, maybe it's not for me, or like maybe it is, maybe all that sounds good to you and you're like, damn, I need to book a cruise. Um, or maybe like I need to go to Rome, or I can go to Rome. Maybe it's you haven't thought about it, or you've been thinking about it but not able to what is it called? Um, I don't know, commit, I guess. I was trying to think of that. There's a saying that I was thinking about, but it didn't come to me. Anyways, thank you all um for hanging out with me. Sorry, I can't multitask. I'm like, I see a comment, I'm like, whoop. My brain is scattered. Um, yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for hopping on, and your questions. I love it. I appreciate it. But yeah, I am going to share more, and hopefully it helps in some way. So thank you. Have a good night. I'm gonna go make that food. Um, because yeah, la tripa dice a comer. Good night.